Hi, I'm Zora from HackMyAge, the HackMyAge.com and the HackMyAge podcast, and I'm here at the Biohacking Congress in Boston, and we got over 30 great guest speakers on biohacking and more than 30 different health companies at this exhibition space. And we're really excited to learn from some amazing biohackers and doctors and scientists, researchers, as well as exploring things like ecological products and digital health devices. And it's a life-changing weekend. And you've got to check out the Biohacking Congress website. It's biohackingcongress.com, and get your ticket to the next Biohacking Congress in Miami on October 22nd and 23rd of this year. And then it's going to be another one in Austin in February 4th to 5th, 2023. So today we're going to meet the co-founder and CEO of Litewater Scientific, Victor Sagalovsky. Right? And you know, this is the first time I ever heard about a super deuterium depleted light water, and it's super interesting. And Victor's dedicated his life to this research, the development and production of this water, which is the one and only in existence, at least as far as I know, so far. And he's researched the benefits of deuterium depleted water through his own theory of aging based on endogenous radiation damage, which he'll explain to us today. And Victor went to Loyola University and the University of Hawaii. He's done graduate coursework in chemistry, optical microscopy, and molecular biology. And he's written many articles in the field of wellness, biohacking, emerging medicine, and technology. Wow, you've done a lot.
Not enough, I'd say.
Not enough? Well,
enough.
There's always, lifelong learning is a great process. I'm a gerontologist, and that's part of our biohacking, our brain. So I've mentioned the word deuterium a couple of times, and I think a lot of people don't know what this word is. I first heard it recently, so I would love to know a little bit more what that is and why it's maybe not so good for us.
Well, we all know what hydrogen is, right? Mm-hmm. That word we have heard, and that's the first element on the periodic table. So deuterium is a version of hydrogen.
Yeah.
So hydrogen is a simple element. It's the simplest element there is, and it's the only element that doesn't have a neutron. It's a proton and an electron.
Yeah.
And deuterium is a version of hydrogen that has a neutron.
Yeah, you explained it really well actually in the slideshow that we had. You did a great presentation. So if you guys get a chance to do that, please go and watch that replay, because I think the visuals are really important here.
It is important for someone to understand things. You know, we are visual people. Our brains think visually, so it's good to have voice and pictures.
Yeah.
we like pretty pictures. But deuterium is twice the mass of a normal hydrogen, and therein lies the problem, because the body mistakes it for a hydrogen. Not always, but as a simplified view, I would say that. And so where it takes a position meant for a hydrogen, it doesn't belong, because it's double the mass.
So it's like caught by surprise, like it thinks it's hydrogen, and they're like, "Whoa, this is way too big."
Kinda,
Okay.
yeah. It's like if you woke up tomorrow and you were twice the weight that you are now.
Oh, wow.
You know, you'd be like, "Wait a second, hold on. You know, I got to figure something out here." So it's like having a big lead weight on you. You know. Oh. So that extra neutron is responsible for this. But because it's still hydrogen, it does what hydrogen does. It binds with oxygen to create water.
Okay. So it behaves in a similar way.
Behaves in a similar way, but it misbehaves.
Okay, that's a good way to put it.
It misbehaves.
Why is it? How does it misbehave?
Yeah. Well, it misbehaves because it's mechanically mechanically in their mitochondria we want the protium form of hydrogen, which is a simple hydrogen. 99.98% of all hydrogen in the universe and on Earth is in this protium form, which is the form that we use to produce energy.
Yeah.
And then the other part is this deuterium part. And there's also another isotope of hydrogen, tritium, which we don't really talk about because there's not much of it.
Okay.
But deuterium, there's enough on this planet to do damage, and there's enough in our bodies to do damage.
Okay.
And it misbehaves by not following the rules that hydrogen follows, and not breaking the rules like hydrogen breaks. So it's not able to break some of the rules of physics like hydrogen, because in my lecture I talk about that we break the law of physics in order to exist.
Yeah.
Okay, and we do that through quantum tunneling.
Yeah.
And
Explain quantum tunneling a little bit. You had a little visual for us back there to see that, to understand it, but how would you explain it without the visual?
I did. So quantum tunneling is, let's say you have a hill.
Yeah.
And you want a particle or element, molecule, whatever. You want something to get over that hill because it's got work to do. I got to get to work, right?
Yeah.
But you got to go over the hill to get to work. So you got to go up and you got to go down. That's energy. You know, you need kinetic force to do things like that. But hydrogen says, I don't have time. I've got work to do. So it tunnels through the mountain instead. And you go, how did you do that? And hydrogen says, I don't have time to tell you. I'm too busy working.
Yeah, yeah.
So we break the law of physics.
Okay.
So
that's a good thing.
That's a great thing,
Yeah.
because we take a shortcut. Hydrogen takes a shortcut. Well, life takes a shortcut in order to exist. We want the path of least resistance, not most resistance.
Yeah.
So we just say, yes, we know this is impossible to do, but I'm going to do it anyway.
Okay.
I'm going to make the impossible possible. That's what life is. It's making the impossible possible. So deuterium doesn't quite fall into that smooth space of making the impossible possible. It stays.
So it has to go over the hill?
It has to. It's still quantum tunnels a little, but not the same way. And this is known as the kinetic isotope effect.
Okay.
So what it shows is that the carbon deuterium bond, because everything we're carbon beings, right? So everything's going to be bound to carbon in organic life, most things. So you have a carbon hydrogen bond and you have a carbon deuterium bond. You say, what is the difference? Carbon deuterium bond disassociates 9 times slower.
Oh,
You see,
okay.
so it
it's not
just
as
slow.
efficient.
It's it slows everything down. Deuterium just slows things down.
So that's how it's affecting. You talked about the mitochondria and how it's not running as efficiently, right? It's that we don't have that energy as well due to this deuterium.
We have a simple mechanical problem when you get down to the nanoscopic level.
Yeah.
In the mitochondria, there's the Krebs cycle and the electron transport chain. And I just want to focus on the end of the electron transport chain, which is the ATP synthase nanomotor. Because this is where the bulk of ATP is made in our biology.
Yeah.
Okay, and this is a motor generator that runs on protons from hydrogen.
Okay.
So what happens when you put diesel in your gas engine?
Yeah.
It destroys it. So we have this little destruction happening every 5 seconds. Based on the amount of deuterium we have in our atmosphere, every 5 seconds, those little motors, those nanomotors, instead of getting the proton, they get a deuteron. And a deuteron is a proton and a neutron pair.
Yeah.
So you've got a square peg. You got a square hole, and you want a square peg.
Yeah.
Well, or opposite, round peg, round.
Yeah.
Either way, this doesn't fit.
Yeah.
So it's like putting a square peg in a round hole,
Yeah.
essentially. So it doesn't fit. So what it causes are these motors, these ATP synthase nanomotors that produce our energy to produce ATP. It causes them to stutter. It causes them to shake. It causes shear and breakdown. Ultimately, it weakens them. Ultimately, it causes so much stuttering that it causes leakage in the membrane. Membranes are really important to us.
Yes, we need them to be tightly sealed.
We need to be tightly sealed, and so you can have a gradient. So if you have more protons here, then you have less protons here. They want to get in, right?
Yeah.
They want to spin that motor. And if you have leakage, then you equalize, and then nothing happens. No energy is produced. Then what happens to the cell? It goes into a state of suspended animation, right? Senescence, going, okay, can I recover from this? And the answer is no. And then it goes to apoptosis, which is cell death.
Okay.
So our goal to increase our lifespan or increase our health span is to limit the amount of perturbance that we get from things like deuterium. And deuterium being the biggest, the most abundant natural contaminant in our atmosphere. We have a lot of...
Really? That's the most abundant natural... Because there's so much water in the sense that we're...
So much water from the food, it's in everything, yeah. So it's a natural contaminant. And it's the worst natural contaminant because it affects us metabolically.
So what do people feel when they have too much deuterium in their body? So what happens if we don't, try to get rid of it?
Like I asked you, what would happen if you woke up tomorrow and you were twice the mass as you are today? You'd be a little sluggish, right? Things wouldn't work properly. You'd get tired quick. right? It would lead to a bunch of other things, right? You'd have a whole bunch of
It's
downstream
like a cascade of other problems.
downstream effects. Yeah.
So
Yeah. So it slows down metabolism. That's why when you have deuterium and you make that into water, it's called heavy water. It's heavy on the body, it's heavy on the mind, it's heavy on the soul. It's just heavy.
Yeah.
And you want to be light. We're light beings.
Yes.
Both figuratively and
yeah, we want to be physically more light and be able to do more things. So, okay.
So we're literally want to be lighter and have more light.
And so that's then deuterium is like bringing us down. This is the way
it's
I
bringing us
understand
down.
it. And it's causing this damage, and we want to be light. We want to remove this deuterium.
We want to reduce it. I don't think we could ever remove all of it. But we want to reduce it because biology has set up mechanisms. I mean, this has been going on for over 1 billion years. So you would think, okay, we might have invented some processes to limit the amount of deuterium that comes into the electron transport chain. And we have. Yeah. But it's higher now than what we're used to.
So it's accumulated. You did mention that
it's cumulative.
We have more deuterium in our planet now than we did before. So how is that? What's happening?
Well, we had this thing called the flood, which is in the Bible and other books of antediluvian lore and all these things. So that introduced deuterium. When the Ice Age ended, that introduced more deuterium because there was a lot of methane in the ice, and when that melted, that introduced a bunch of deuterium. So our deuterium levels on the planet has been creeping up. Also, in the last 100 years, all this nuclear testing. So
interesting.
So
that brings in more deuterium.
More, yeah. So I believe, and there's some evidence to this, that we evolved in an environment where our deuterium was between 80 and 125 ppm. In fact, if you look at Antarctica, which is the lowest deuterium water on the planet, it's 89 parts per million. And most major cities in the world are 150.
Okay.
So this is water that's locked in time from 80 million years ago.
Oh, okay.
And when you look at 80 million years ago, you see the plants were bigger, you see the animals were huge, massive.
Yeah.
Ferns, 5-story ferns, animals that are 5 times the size of what they are now. And this was because they were lighter. The earth was lighter. There was less deuterium, so things were able to grow better, grow bigger. It's not, not the only reason, but a main reason.
Yeah, because I was thinking, when you wake up twice as heavy as you are, I would think that's because, you have more deuterium. Whereas if in time with the dinosaurs and the large plants, you would think, maybe they had too much deuterium.
No, yeah, well, they existed in an environment that probably had 40 to 50% less deuterium than we have now on this planet.
Then you would think they'd be smaller, not bigger.
No, they would be bigger because they're allowed to grow bigger. There's less stress.
Okay.
There's less stress on them. It's less heavy, so they're able to express more of their genetic potential.
I'm taking it a little bit too literally, the first example. So okay.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. You see where I was going.
They are heavier
like
because they're bigger.
Yeah.
But why are they bigger? Because their metabolism is better.
But don't smaller people or smaller animals live longer than the larger ones in general, as we know now?
Well, if you look at
the
blue whale, it's the biggest mammal in the world, and yet it lives so much longer than we do.
Yeah. But when the smaller humans live longer.
I don't know if that's been proven,
no?
but I know the science that you're citing.
Yeah.
Because tall people, big people, they don't live as long as smaller people. But it's really it's a metabolic thing, right? So if you remove the heaviness from our metabolism, then you have more ability to not only improve your self-healing ability, but also pass that on to future generations. So it's cumulative, not only cumulative in yourself, in your epigenetics, but also in your genetics, in what you pass on. So the studies that originally they did in the 60s when they discovered this anomaly, where in some places in the world you have water that has less deuterium, and they studied it, they saw that plants grew bigger, animals grew faster maturity, but they also found that generationally, when they were testing mice, because it's a great way to test many generations because their lifespan is so short, they found that when they were consuming food and water, specifically water in this case, but there were some tests on food that was lower in deuterium, but when they're consuming water that had lower deuterium in it, they were able to have more offspring, healthier offspring, and that got passed on to future generations. So not only did they come to maturity faster, they were more virile, but they were also bigger and healthier and had a bigger litter. And the opposite was noticed when you introduced heavier water. In fact, by the third generation, these mice could no longer reproduce. They lost their ability to reproduce. They became sterile.
No matter how big you or small you are, you'd want to. I mean, you just want to reproduce,
and it's,
right?
And it's pure, because if you give somebody pure D2O, pure heavy water, they'll die. They'll die on the 5th day.
Oh, really?
And it's water. It looks like water, smells like water. You wouldn't be able to tell that it's different. Maybe an ice cube will sink. Maybe that's a good ice cube sink. I don't want to drink that.
That would be scary.
But that's not something you'll find in nature is heavy water. But just for the sake of experimentation and learning more about this, these are some of the experiments that they tried. And they saw, okay, this water will kill you. Will kill you
if you had that much.
Because it's not compatible with our biology, with our metabolism, with our mitochondria.
Yeah. So, okay, then that makes sense. So let's say we've established that deuterium is not such a great thing to have in our body. We can't remove it completely. How can we eliminate it then from our life or be aware of the things that we can do? I know in the lecture you mentioned a ketogenic diet would be one way.
So before we started our company and made light water, deuterium depleted water available to people, what's another way you could do this if you don't have that?
Yeah.
And yes, a ketogenic diet.
Interesting. How does that work?
Because nature's strategy is to deplete the fats of deuterium and load the carbs. So fats will have a lower deuterium. Fats will be closer to what our body needs, 125 ppm. Carbs are going to be 150 or higher.
Okay.
And because of processed foods, often they are higher.
But what about plants? The carbohydrates from plants, there's a lot of water in there, right? Would that be not
so if you look at a plant, you will see that it concentrates deuterium more in the roots, and there's less deuterium the further you go away. Because it's a gravity thing.
Yeah.
Heavy at the bottom,
light at the top.
Light at the top.
Huh.
Yeah.
Interesting. So do you follow the ketogenic diet?
I do.
Yeah?
I do. Mostly keto adapted. I've been doing it for over 12 years, so I mean, I like fasting. Fasting is another one that
can help deplete the deuterium?
Oh yes.
Oh, okay.
I love the state of feeling empty, the emptiness.
Light, right?
Light and empty. And when you are fasting, and assuming you're doing a dry fast, which means no food or water.
Yeah, I guess you couldn't drink water unless it's deuterium depleted water.
A fast is so much more effective if you just cut out everything, including water.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's called a dry fast.
Yeah.
And so in order to get energy when you're dry fasting, what do? You burn fat.
Yeah.
And when you burn fat, what does that create? It creates metabolic water. So every 2.4 pounds, a little more than a kilo of fat that you burn, you produce a liter of metabolic water, which is deuterium depleted.
Wow.
So that's why fasting is so beneficial.
That's amazing. So when we talk about fasting, it's such a broad term. So if somebody says, okay, I want to remove or reduce the load of deuterium, I'm going to start some ketogenic diet and do some fasting. But what kind of fasting? Because fasting is such a broad term. Are we talking about 12 hours or 24 hours or 16/8?
Start with what you can, and in the beginning, interrupt your pattern. Right?
Yeah.
Go to bed hungry, wake up, don't have breakfast. Looks like that's more than 12 hours right there.
Yeah.
And then maybe you could push it a little bit more after that. But the key is to interrupt your pattern, because the pattern is it's locked in, you know. It's there. But as soon as you can consciously say, okay, I'm going to stop that, and I'm going to just do nothing, because doing nothing is quite wonderful, honestly. But you don't even have to do that, because now we have light water, we have deuterium depleted water. So that is the best way to reduce deuterium.
Okay. So, but getting back to the fasting one, just to make it clear for people, is the more the better, in the sense that in terms of reducing the deuterium, or there's going to be some negative side effects if you go too far.
On the fasting?
On the fasting, yeah. Because we keep going, you said, okay, you got to disrupt it, and go until when? Is the more the better?
Yes and no. You do what you can. It's more a mental thing. But yeah, people that are suffering from some kind of illness, the best, look at what animals do. They get sick, they fast.
Yeah.
And the body takes over, the self-healing ability takes over. I've gone 144 hours without food or water. And at that point, I felt like I could go more.
Yeah.
But I was losing a lot of weight, because all my fat was getting burned. You should do it until the point where you're not in danger of losing muscle mass. But the fat's okay. You'll recover there. And one of the benefits of fasting is growth hormone. You increase the amount of growth hormone that you have. Essentially, the body thinks it's like, well, it's cleansing, but it's like it thinks it's dying almost. So after you start eating again, it floods your body with growth hormone, which is phenomenal, because you feel like you're 20 again. So whatever it takes, start with a day, see how you like it, go from there. It's a profound thing. It's not easy for a lot of people.
No, it's not.
They're locked into a pattern of eating and drinking, and so the easiest way is to consume deuterium depleted water.
There as we go. Okay, so if you're not into fasting and you can't find that sweet spot for yourself, then we're gonna have to talk about the easy way out, which I think is drinking deuterium depleted water. So tell us a little bit about what that is and how you even can measure that it's depleted of deuterium in there.
Right. So when we started a company, Litewater Scientific, to produce deuterium depleted water, we also created a lab, which is deuteriumtest.com, because yes, you do want to know that what you're drinking is DDW, and you want to know what your level in your body is.
Yeah.
So
so you can find out how much actually is in my body today.
We can test saliva.
Okay.
We could test breath vapor if you collect it yourself. And saliva is a great indicator of extracellular fluid, and breath vapor is more indicator of your metabolic water. But aside from that, when you test, you'll notice that you're somewhere around 150. Most people are. Wherever you live, you're going to be about the same as the water that you consume. If you're higher, something's off. If you're lower, something's on. Something good is happening. So there are some places in the world where you can live, even in the United States, where there's 5 to 10% lower deuterium even in the tap water. Okay, and this is great because you already have an advantage.
Yeah.
This is cumulative. This is over time.
So in those areas, are the people living better and longer?
Oh yeah, absolutely, and we did studies to correlate this. In fact, there was a study done that took readings of all which is publicly available data of the tap water in the United States. Most states are available, and there's deuterium levels that are listed in this public data. And we correlated that to depression susceptibility. So people that live in areas that have heavier water have more instances of depression.
Wow.
It's statistically significant finding.
Yeah, actually I found on your website you had some of this, there was research studies that you had posted, and they were researching the deuterium levels and the link to depression, cancer, mitochondria, dysfunction, metabolic disorders. I mean, these are research papers.
Absolutely.
I didn't look at them, but I just saw this list. Going,
There's quite a number of them. We're over 60 years into the research of this. So,
wow. So what have you found? So people can, get this water, we start drinking it, and then our deuterium levels will start to lower.
Slowly, yes.
Slowly? Oh, it takes a while? How long does it take?
Takes a while. Well, per day,
yeah,
depending on what else you're doing.
Yeah.
Half a ppm to 1 ppm.
Half to 1.
Half a part per million to 1 part per million.
That's enough to
per day.
start
Per day.
Yeah.
Per day. Slowly, gradually, hopefully linearly.
Yeah.
And you get to in the 120s within 45 to 90 days.
Okay. And then what do you feel? What is maybe some anecdotally what you've heard with people who've drank this water? And
we have so many testimonials. I don't share a lot of them because they're just too good.
Yeah. Well, they're so good. You should be sharing them. Let's hear what generalies are anything? I mean, what is across the board? Do people just have more energy or feel better, or skin clears up, or I'm not sure what's the most common type of feelings that people get when they
so when your body is lower in deuterium, because the water is not the healer is your own body that is lower in deuterium. So what happens? You open up and you increase the amount of energy in your body, the amount of ATP energy. That's just mechanical. That's just you reduce something, you allow something to function better. So how does that translate or manifest in a person, and how do you quantify that for everybody? Well, increased energy is one, better sleep, faster metabolism.
So then there's the
brighter out, and that goes with a whole host of positive benefits, like brighter outlook on things, So for me personally, I noticed my healing ability, because when I started this, I was already 20 years deep into optimizing my health. Right? Getting over all the problems that I had growing up, all the things that I was encumbered with, and so I was already pretty healthy. Like, I didn't feel like I needed anything, but the science really lured me in. And it lured me in, the technology and science, and just the fact that this is something that's foundational lured me in. And so when I personally got to experience the benefits is when I got injured.
Oh, what happened?
I healed very fast.
What kind of injury? Like, we're talking about cuts?
Oh, I fell. I fell on my hip. I was ice skating, and just really just messed myself up. You just torqued myself, bruised myself. I was just like, I was limping. I was limping, and I had a big hematoma, a big bruise. And so I'm like, okay, I'm in this. When did this happen?
It's a good test now.
A few years. This happened almost 3 years ago. So I was 47. I figured, well, I'm 47. This is it's going to take a month to heal, because I'm not 20 anymore.
Yeah.
3 days later, it was all gone.
Oh, wow.
And I go, okay.
Wow.
So
how much were you drinking at the time? Like, because I know that
at that point, I was already consuming DDW for. This was in December, so probably 3.5 months. I was doing it.
You were already on it every single day.
Every single day.
Half to 1 ppm, right?
Well, half to 1 ppm you can reduce per day.
You can reduce.
Yeah.
Okay,
so how much do you drink? Half a liter to a liter, or so.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's, I think, doable for most people. So then the way that I understand, the way I saw on the website, is that you have to mix, because this is a bottle that is 1 liter, 2 liters?
That's a liter there.
You sell it.
And then we sell the 2 liter. So the best one, the most affordable is the 2 liter.
Okay.
Because it comes in plastic and it's just cheaper to ship than the glass. So it's the and we blow our own plastic. It's BPA free. Yeah.
Oh, that's good to know.
Yeah, we try to do everything, and I wouldn't, I'm a real purist. So I'm like very, and I was a lot worse younger. I was very.
Weren't we all? Well, now we're enlightened.
But I found some tricks, right?
Yeah.
I found some tricks. I found some great biohacks. So this is the main one. So it allowed me to do other things that earlier in life I would have limited myself from those, because I was extreme.
Yeah.
And I was extreme because I got a taste of illness that I didn't like it, and I didn't want it again. Right? It's like a drug addict that will never go back to drugs because it was so hard to kick. Well, getting well was hard.
Yeah.
Right? It was hard. But once you are well, you want to maintain it. You want to keep it.
Yeah, feels so good. Why would you go back?
Why would you go back? So here I am. I got tons of energy and just very excited. And it was just celebrated my 50th birthday. And,
congratulations. Welcome to the club.
Thank
I'm
you.
52.
All right.
Just a couple days ago, the 5th.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
I'm June 4th.
Oh, Gemini.
Gemini, yeah. My nephew's June 5th, actually.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he called me and he said, it was so cute. He said, Vic, happy 2nd 25th.
Oh, that's a great way to put it.
I go, that was good.
Well, I think what you're doing is working, and you certainly don't look your age, but I'd love to have explained this bottle of water, because I understand.
So you want to understand dilution, yeah.
Dilution, yeah, because it's $25 a bottle, right?
It's like $20 a liter.
Yeah, something like that. So it's not, I don't know if you just guzzle this by the liter every day, or do you
I mean, you can. Either you dilute it inside or outside. Because it's going to get diluted, right?
Either way.
Either way, by everything else you drink
Yeah.
or consume.
Oh, so either you could take a shot glass and drink it, or you can mix it with water and then.
Yeah. So
the
what most people do
concentration.
is to get a linear depletion is they mix it, so they know exactly what they're getting. Unless you're incredibly regimented and disciplined in your life, like I know I drink 2 liters of water per day, no matter what.
Yeah, yeah.
Then you know that if you drink half a liter of DDW, you'll know that you drank 3 parts of regular water to 1 part DDW. So that's a 1 to 3, which according to the equation, that gives you 112 parts per million.
Is that enough?
Yeah, you want to get.
Yeah?
You can dilute it 5 times, or you can dilute it 1 time, or you could not dilute it at all. In the beginning, you're not by drinking more of it. You're not going to necessarily deplete faster.
Okay.
Maybe a little faster, but in the beginning, your body's just going to drop half a ppm to 1 ppm of deuterium.
Whether it's a shot glass or
Whether
half a liter
you
or
drink
1 liter.
whether you drink a liter of 120 ppm water, or whether you drink a liter of 10 ppm water. Your body is gonna, there's a limit per day that you're gonna be able to flush out. I mean, you could quicken that. You could fast, you could be ketogenic in your dietary approach.
Things,
You could do sauna every day and sweat it out. That's very beneficial for lowering your deuterium faster.
Really?
But fast, slow, does it matter? This is a longevity play.
Yeah.
This is a slow and steady wins the race type of play. So you want to get there, and the reason you want to get there linear is because not everybody, but linearity is because if you're sick, if you have an illness or unwell and something, you want to take that kind of approach. You don't want like this. Oh, I'm going to drink it today, but not tomorrow. Then my deuterium went down, then it went up, then it went down. You want to, you want to be consistent. So most people start with anywhere from 1 to 1 dilution to 1 to 4. So at 1 to 1, you have 80 parts per million. So so this bottle is 10 parts per million. If you combine that with 150 ppm water, which is normal water, then you have 80. And if you combine it 1 to 2, you get 100. 1 to 3, 112. 1 to 4, 122.
Okay. But what would be the recommended in general?
Anywhere,
if you want to take slow and steady, and you want to still, conserve, you'd say, don't want to spend a fortune on my water, but I want it to be effective. So what is the minimal dosage to take every single day?
Minimal, at least 1 to 4.
So
that's 120.
That would be half a liter, more or less.
No. Well, it would be.
Depending on how much you drink, I guess.
It would be a liter or half liter and 4 parts. Is one part DDW, 4 parts regular water.
Okay, so if you
that would be the minimum.
Yeah,
that would be the minimum.
That's saying you normally drink 2 liters of water, half a liter will be the deuterium.
That'd be 1 to 3. Yeah.
That'd be 1 to 3. Okay.
That'd be 1 to 3 because if you have half a liter of DDW and 1.5 liters of regular water, so that's 1 to 3, which gives you 112, and that's perfect.
Yeah. But that would be good, but it's not the minimal. You could do a little bit less.
Minimum would be like at least 1 to 4 to start, and then at this point it becomes all economics. It becomes what you can afford. Yeah. Some people say I can afford whatever. I'm just going to drink this straight. Yeah. Go for it. It's not going to. It's good for you. It's not going to hurt you. But a more economical approach would be to dilute it 4 times and then get your deuterium level 20% reduced, because that's what we're going for.
Yeah, in 45 days more or less.
45 to 90.
Yeah. Okay.
People are a little different. Everybody's a little different.
That makes sense.
So you want to get in the 120 ppm range.
Yeah.
And you want to stay there.
Yes, that's the thing. You got to keep going.
You got to keep going, and you can go lower. I got down to 80 ppm, and I tested myself, and that was it was too much for somebody.
From where? What was your beginning point?
150.
Oh, okay, yeah.
For someone that spends a lot of time sitting in front of a computer, that was almost too much. Yeah. Because I had so much energy. It was, Right. So I'm like at 100 ppm right now, and that for me is great because I don't need much sleep. I flew 5,000 miles to be here, 2 red eyes, and I feel great.
Where were you coming from?
I was on Kauai.
Whoa.
So
nice.
it was a nice trip.
Yeah, okay. So I'm going to ask you then what it tastes like, and if I can taste it.
Please. please.
Yeah, I'm gonna try this.
Yeah, you tell me what it tastes like.
And
to me, it tastes like water, but
it just tastes like water. Yeah,
but it tastes like
water.
you know what? It's a lighter. It's a lighter water. In fact, truly, it is light water because if you put that bottle on a scale and you take an identical bottle of regular water and put it on a scale, there'll be a difference of 300 milligrams.
Really? So then it'll be easier to go down. So my husband, who hates to drink, hates drinking water, the only thing he drinks is coffee, this may be easier for him to drink.
Absolutely, absolutely. We are dehydrated by overconsumption of the wrong water.
You're right. It tastes like nothing. In the fact,
it tastes like nothing. Yeah.
Like I'm looking for a taste, which when you drink water, you look for some kind of mineral, or I don't know. There's something in there, or a smell, and I don't.
There's nothing. It's lab grade, honestly.
Yeah. No, it tastes pure and clean and delicious.
2 mega ohms of resistance. It's no ionic activity in there. In fact, you can't even, because there's no ions in it, you can't test the pH of it.
Yeah, nothing floating in there.
Nothing.
And so, because it's got nothing in there really, other than it's deuterium depleted, there's no minerals, then we need to supplement then if we drink this water regularly, no?
Minerals come from food, let's be honest. But yes,
or supplement through food, or drinking mineral water, or mixing it with mineral water.
Mixing it with mineral water. Minerals define the taste of a water. Good mineralization gives you a nice flavor, nice palate in water. We recommend Kentone or ketone, marine plasma.
What's that?
That is a seawater. It's a special type of seawater. It's called a marine plasma. And it's closest thing to your blood.
Oh, okay. Yes.
It's like a periodic table of elements in a little vial. Okay, and that is a trace mineral supplement. And a lot of people,
it's a supplement you
and a lot of people like to add it to their water, or just have it separate. But that is essential. It is absolutely essential. Everybody should be on this.
Yeah.
There's 129-year history to this product. Kentone, Quinton.
Okay.
Kentone. Yeah, and it's so important. I mean, unless you spend an hour in the ocean a day, we need this.
Yeah.
And René Quinton, who is considered, as a legend of science, health, and medicine in France, he said that in order for life that evolved in the ocean to survive on land, it had to take the ocean with it.
Oh, that's a good way
So we have an ocean inside us.
Yes.
But we are depleting it through our modern lifestyle. Modern lifestyle is, unfortunately, there's a lot of things that deplete us. Stress is one of them. Burns your minerals, right? The bad diet is another. Lack of complete mineralization in the soil is really a big one. So we want to get those trace elements.
Yeah.
Because we're conductors of energy. And how do you conduct more energy? You have more conductors.
Yes.
More minerals.
We don't need to. Yeah, you explained that too in the show. That was really good. I wondering if somebody then has this water, can you boil it and freeze it, or is it going to change the composition at all?
You can do anything to it.
Yeah?
It will stay deuterium depleted no matter what you do. In fact,
then.
Put this in your yard, come back in 1,000,000 years, it'll still be the same.
Oh, really?
Yeah. The only thing that will change it is by adding it to other water.
Okay.
Right. So it's DDW for good. It's stable. It's not going to nothing. You can't boil. The opposite of that, you can't remove deuterium through any process quite easily. You can't boil it. You can't freeze it.
You can't get rid of it.
You can't get rid of it.
Yeah.
We do it through mimicking the hydrological cycle, because semi-heavy water and water have slightly different temperatures at the phase change, freezing, boiling. So in that slight difference, that half a degree difference, that's when we pull off the light water.
And so the machinery that you have to do this is it's
big.
It's big. Yeah.
Big.
So it must be like a water plant. And where is it located?
In Russia right now, and we're building a pilot plant here in the U.S.
Oh, yeah, I was gonna say, how are you gonna get that stuff over here now?
No, we're okay because we're water. Water is treated as an essential. So
okay.
So we're good we're good. But this technology comes from Russia originally because this is where they discovered this problem. They were trying to figure out gerontologists. You mentioned you're a gerontologist. I'm an armchair gerontologist.
Yeah.
So gerontologist, one gerontologist and a biophysicist in the 50s who had a thing that they were they had a curious problem. And there was two populations in Siberia that they were studying, and they couldn't figure out why these people had so many more centenarians. Why they had so much better health, such better health.
And living in Siberia.
Living in Siberia,
right?
Mostly like Eskimos.
Yeah.
And
it's
they didn't.
Tough life.
And no, it was a very tough life,
Yeah.
right? Yeah, especially back then when they had to heat their homes not with natural gas, but they had to actually have wood, and so you got all this carbon
Breathing,
soot.
yeah.
You know, you don't have any vegetables. It's a tough life.
Yeah.
But yet these people had,
surviving,
like something was I think 324 centenarians per 1 million, and everywhere else in Europe it was like 5 to 10.
Were they essentially larger than the rest of the population, like bigger?
I don't know. I've
Or-
never been there, so
Okay.
I can't quite. They didn't write about that. Were they
Okay.
bigger in stature? I don't know,
Yeah.
because it wasn't cited in the literature that
Okay.
they were. At least I haven't investigated that part of it.
That would be
But
interesting.
they were definitely hardier.
Yes.
They were definitely hardier. So they measured everything they could. You know,
Yeah.
their diet, their lifestyle, their spirituality, and then they got to the water, and they said, oh well. They tested the water for everything. And then this was the 50s, so deuterium was only discovered not too long before. It was only discovered in 1931 that it even exists.
Yeah.
So it was like 15 years later. It's like, so they're looking at this, say, let's look at this deuterium thing. Sure enough, their water had 16% less deuterium.
Interesting.
This is what popped this whole thing. This is where this discovery comes from. Observing these people and going, okay, what's different here than everybody else? 16% lower deuterium, explaining their longevity, because nothing else could explain it. Then they repeated the tests on mammals, lower life forms, plants. Sure enough,
same thing.
They got the same results. Repeated it in the United States as well at the time. I think they published in either 61 or 63 in the US, and the conclusion was that deuterium is incompatible with life.
Interesting.
So
But we have to have some amount of deuterium, right?
Well,
What
we
if
can't get
had
away
no
from
deuterium?
it.
Yeah.
We can't get away from it.
Yeah.
It's in our food, it's in our water.
Yeah.
Just lower it by 20%,
Yeah.
and then many problems start to go away.
Incredible. What I really excited about this too, well, you just mentioned this the last moment, that you have this Hydroshot, a nitric oxide boost. And to me, when I'm reading the ingredients, molecular hydrogen infused purified water, deuterium depleted water, you got a little bit of erythritol in there to have some flavor, and I'm just, this
And
is like
citrulline, and citrulline
and citrulline, you got a
to
bunch
produce
of other
nitric
stuff.
oxide, yeah.
Ah, okay, yeah. I mean, really, it's incredible. It's like a biohacking drink in here. And
It's a true functional energy beverage.
yeah. So yeah,
so
tell me
this
a
is
little more about
this is our friend makes this, our friend Kurt at H2Bev, and he's really the I don't know if he's the only one, but he's really advanced the ability of putting hydrogen in a can, because hydrogen is the escape
Yeah.
artist. It's the
Yes.
smallest thing in nature, smallest element in nature, so it tunnels through everything.
Yeah.
It'll go through glass, you know, it'll go through plastic, but aluminum keeps it well. So he figured out how to put the hydrogen in there and make it stay. Okay, and he creates this Hydroshot beverage. So what we did is we changed some of the ingredients around, and we added deuterium depleted water. Why? Because if you're in a deuterium depleted lifestyle and you want an energy beverage, if you drink a regular energy beverage, it's going to work against you, right? It's
Yeah.
all this effort that you put into depleting your deuterium, you know, the cost, the time, all this stuff.
Yeah.
And then now you want a beverage, it's adding deuterium. So this one is 100 parts
Yeah.
per million.
Okay.
So it helps anybody that is already on a deuterium depletion protocol or lifestyle.
Yeah, it's one of the first ingredients right there.
Right.
So
It's
that's-
100 ppm DDW,
Yeah.
molecular hydrogen. It's like between 3 and 4 ppm,
It's even better.
And-
like, yeah.
and
Incredible.
citrulline to increase nitric oxide,
yeah.
and a little bit of caffeine.
Yeah.
A little bit of caffeine. So it's
So you wouldn't want to drink that at night. That's something to boost your energy, but naturally, and with a bit of caffeine there to get you going. How much caffeine is in there for people who are?
It's about the same as a
sensitive?
shot of espresso, I'd say, 75 milligrams. So
Interesting.
it's a boost.
So now we have two ways to get deuterium depleted water in our system, and other than the other hacks that you had, but we get the water, and or you can buy this Hydroshot. And where are these sold?
Only on our website, drinklitewater.com.
Drinklitewater.com.
It's expensive to produce, so it doesn't make sense to sell it in a store, because they would even make it double what we sell it for. So we're a vertical company. We produce everything and then sell it, and that way we can sell it for the lowest cost possible without having a middleman and putting it in stores. So we just order on the website on a subscription basis, because you're going to get it every month or every 2 weeks or whatever. Yes,
of course, because when you start this, I mean, I can't imagine somebody saying, I'll give it a try.
Don't start if you're not going to start. Don't do it. Why?
It's water.
Why?
It really doesn't taste. It tastes. There's nothing to risk.
In this one, goal-oriented matters. Your goal is to reduce your deuterium levels and keep them there.
So then, you said you have a subscription? So if you subscribe, then I imagine there's a percentage discount each month?
Yeah, you get 20% discount from the retail price to subscribe. And you can cancel anytime. We make it pretty easy for you. You can change your frequency or amount. It's quite. We try to cater to what the customer wants or needs. So
generally, what you'd recommend, though, when you try it, or you say you're going to give it a go for 3 months, say, then the only way to really measure, realistically for the rest of the population, is just how you're feeling and
or you can. I mean,
you
can validate what your levels are through doing a saliva test.
Is that easy to do?
It's easy to do.
Yeah.
You just collect saliva.
And where do you do the test? In a lab, any lab?
No, we send you a kit and you send it back to us.
Oh, you have a kit?
Yeah, we send you a little kit. It helps you collect your saliva, and then you put it in put it in an envelope, send it back to our lab, and we'll give you your results in about 10 days.
Oh, that's
incredible.
It's
pretty easy. Yeah.
So definitely, if you're going to sign up for this or try it, I would say, as a biohacker, this is what we do. We test things, we measure things. As you're in the N of 1 experiment, before you get your water, you test the saliva, send that back to you. Is that an extra cost, or does that come with a subscription? Or
there is an extra cost to it.
Okay.
Yeah, there is an extra cost. We run some specials where sometimes it's included, and we do have some specials you can see on the website. But
I would say that's a no-brainer.
Some people like to test before, especially biohackers love to test before, because they want to get a baseline and then see where they progress. But most people can just guess what their deuterium levels are, because it's going to be the same as where you live.
I see. Okay.
You see?
Okay. Yeah.
You see? So most people are going to be about 150.
Okay.
But it's a baseline.
But they don't know. But you'd have to. So you can go online and kind of guess. You can ask what your tap water is. Or could you find out if you're drinking Perrier or something? I don't know. You can find out what the deuterium levels are.
Pretty much. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Pretty much. Yeah. It's not
difficult.
It's not difficult. But again, you could set a baseline. You could test before.
Yeah.
Test after, test in 3 months.
Yeah.
People that are on this lifestyle annually, continually, we provide. If you're with us, we provide you a test a year, just so if you're for a subscriber, so you could just kind of measure what your level is going forward. I would say that even though I had that healing experience at 3 months, I really felt like it. I think honestly, it takes a year. It takes a year to really
kick in.
To really where you're like, wow, this is
big a difference.
I feel like I'm in my 20s again.
Well, then that's where I would, measure, get the kit, take photographs, write this stuff down. What are you feeling? Because it's such a slow progression. If you're going to do something in a year, even imagine people trying to lose weight, they forget how big they were in the beginning, right? So
some people feel it right away, though, which is odd.
Oh, that's good.
If you're older,
we
accumulate deuterium nonstop, right? As we get older, we have more deuterium, and our bodies aren't expecting to go the other way.
Yes.
So if you're really attuned to your biology, and even if you do it for a few days, you will notice, because you're going the opposite way. Now you're depleting deuterium, and the body notices it. So it depends if you're more subtly attuned. Sicker people feel it faster, not for every illness, but certainly the older you are, the quicker you'll feel it, because you have more deuterium. Younger, you have healthier mitochondria.
Yeah.
The energy is a game of mitochondria. When you're young, your cell may have, let's say, 10,000 mitochondria or 50,000 mitochondria, depending on the cell. And that same cell that's been dividing all this time, when you're older, say 50 years passes by, Now you have a fraction, maybe 1,000 mitochondria in there, maybe less, maybe 500. So the factories are gone. Factories
so you're gonna be
closed.
slow.
Your factories closed down, and it's hard. You know how hard it is to restart something once it's closed.
Yeah.
So don't get to that point. That's what I'm preaching. Is just stay functional, optimal in your health for your entire life.
Prevention is key.
It's everything.
Yeah.
It's everything. Yeah.
Great. Well, this is chock-a-block full of information. Thank you so much. It's a great note to end on.
Thank you, Zora.
I really am excited to learn about deuterium and deuterium depleted water. I have to say it tastes fantastic. I'm excited to try this as well. So thank you everybody for listening and watching. I hope you really learned something new. I guarantee you probably haven't heard of deuterium before. So thank you so much, and we'll see you then next time.
Thank you. Thank you.